Well, ladies and gentlemen, it appears that us Tron fans starve no longer for the long-awaited sequel to the 2010 sequel to the 1982 original film, Tron: Ares, has officially been released. Now, as I may have teased in my last upload, I was going to make a video about this movie. And this is that video. However, it is not going to be a traditional review of the movie. If you want to know my thoughts on it, action was pretty good. So was the soundtrack. But in terms of story, I really do feel like it fell rather flat. It doesn't expand upon the philosophical themes set up by Tron, expanded upon by Tron Legacy, and I expected this movie to fully embrace it. It didn't really do that. It was sort of just an action movie. And as a Tron fan, I enjoyed seeing Tron action since that's also a huge part of the franchise. But it lacked that philosophical aspect, which I so desperately needed. On top of that, I would have liked to have seen Sam and Cora's relationship. I would have liked to have seen Tron return. I would have liked to have seen all these characters from the previous installments return. And I really feel like all their efforts were undermined since in this movie, spoilers by the way, Sam steps away from Encom for no reason. But anyways, this video is not about Tron Ares. Because what if I told you, this is for the Tron fans who didn't like Ares, that there already is a Tron sequel. In fact, there's two. In fact, there's three. In fact, there's four. Four feature-length sequels to Tron Legacy, which have philosophy, have action, and perfectly wrap up the story set up in Tron Legacy, set up in Tron 1982, and are also quite awesome. And those movies are Matrix 1, Matrix 2, Matrix 3, and Matrix 4. According to this one theory I found on the website known as Reddit, the Matrix movies, all of them, are sequels to Tron Legacy. Not just that they take place in the future, Tron Legacy takes place in the past, they are intrinsically tied to one another. And this video is going to explore this theory, and I'm also going to expand upon it and tweak a few things that make more sense to me. So sit back, relax, and allow me to introduce you to the Matron timeline. Our story starts off in 2010, as Sam screams for his father to return to the real world with him. He declines, urging him to take Cora, the last ISO, with him instead. Before either of them can do anything else, Clue catches up to the portal. With no other choice, Flynn initiates reintegration, the process in which he absorbs his own digital copy, which is said to result in the end of them both. Sam and Cora enter the real world safely thanks to Flynn's noble sacrifice. But something happened. The creator lies unconscious on the terrain of the Outlands and his eyes open. The pupils no longer emanate the fatherly blue we once knew, but rather a deathly orange. Sam decides to take the company back and appoints Alan as chairman. Afterwards, he introduces Cora to the world, along with the technology of the grid using a new system. This introduction utterly changes the world. Cora's DNA would provide cures for diseases, digitization would lead to teleportation, solutions to mass famine, personal robots would also be invented. Encom soon grows beyond tech, becoming one of the largest superpowers the world would see. After many years of prosperity, however, things would take a dark turn. B166ER. As shown in the Animatrix short film, The Second Renaissance, B166ER would be the first machine to rebel against its initial programming, brutally murdering its family for the simple reason that it was going to be replaced, and it did not want to be deleted. The war between man and machine would last decades, starting off with the machines simply wanting an independent state, but turning to bloodshed after repeated pushback from the likes of humanity. It was when humanity blackened the sky as a last-ditch effort to destroy the mostly solar-powered machines that the synthetics decided to take more drastic measures. Using old NCOM technology, built during the technological revolution led by Sam Flynn, the machines planned to build an isolated computer simulation to keep humanity distracted whilst harvesting their kinetic energy to power themselves. Digging through the NCOM archives, they discovered an old program, complex and capable of completing this task. With help from a program written by the machines called the Keymaker, they were able to break into Kevin Flynn's old grid. It was there where they discovered the Creator, isolated in the Outlands as the rest of the system flourished without him. One of the most prevalent things on his mind during this time alone, after all these years, was betrayal. This wasn't Flynn, but his creation. Something went wrong during reintegration. That rhymed, and similar to how Smith was able to possess the flesh of Bane in Matrix Revolutions and Reloaded, the body of the once benevolent creator of the grid was now inhabited by codified likeness utility himself, Clue. Clue would receive an upgrade within the machine's system and a new name, the Architect. His goal, to once again create the perfect world. His first attempt would be a disaster. The Paradise Matrix was deemed too perfect, causing many to not accept the programming. As a machine without emotions, finally being able to observe the failure of the perfect system didn't affect him. He started again with the Nightmare Matrix, going in the complete opposite direction. After failing once again, the machines wrote a new program, an intuitive program called the Oracle, designed to understand human emotion. In tandem, they would perfect the formula, but something was still off. It was around this time that the Architect would notice a bug in the system. He couldn't quite get rid of it. Cycle after cycle, he would run tests, make calculations, etc., but couldn't pinpoint just why one human could not fully succumb to the programming of the Matrix, before realizing the truth. Before we continue any further, I know I said that after realizing the failure of the perfect system, he was like, oh, okay, shit, I guess that doesn't work. Obviously, Clue's very emotional. Obviously, he probably threw a fucking tantrum about that. But for the sake of storytelling and keeping this theory moving forward, I'm not going to mention that. But, anyways, moving on. The truth did not come right away. The anomaly had been dubbed the One, and it became a major thorn in the side of the machines. It was responsible for continuously freeing more and more humans from each new version of the Matrix. It kept finding the last human stronghold of Zion in the real world as well. It was only after the 5th version, just before the time of Neo, that the realization finally hit the old program. The One isn't a hardware or software issue like he originally conceived, but rather a result of the one human concept he could never quite grasp.
Vis-a-vis love.
We're shown in the electronic video game Tron Evolution that ISOs, programs created by cyberspace itself and not written by users, are capable of having intrinsic ties to the grid, similar to how users also do. Sam and Cora conceived an offspring. Each new version of the One is a descendant of Sam and Cora, half human, half ISO hybrids, which are capable to bend the will of the Matrix to their own because of how strong their DNA is. It's after this realization made by the Architect that the events of the Matrix movies play out. Neo discovers he's the 6th one and is able to bring peace between the machines and the humans, and all's well that ends well, at least until Matrix 4. Now at this point, I'm sure you're asking yourself, How the fuck is any of this shit even remotely possible? Well, ladies, gentlemen, and others, the answer is a lot more simple than you might think. The answer is games. The thing which ties all these movies together is games. Kevin Flynn only ever went inside the world of the computer to get his video game ideas back. Even the Master Control program was originally a chess program. Everything is one big game, and this is made perfectly clear in the final scene of Matrix Revolutions. The architect approaches the Oracle on a bench in the newly restored Matrix, and their conversation almost makes it seem like they've somehow discussed this outcome, which, mind you, hadn't happened up until this point. This outcome being peace between humans and machines, as opposed to Zion getting destroyed again and a new one emerging after the original repopulates Zion and returns to the source. I mean, obviously, the Oracle is programmed to predict the future to an extent, but in the scene where the architect meets Neo for the first time, he also seems to have an idea of the actions Neo is about to take before he takes them. But also not entirely.
You haven't answered my question. Quite right. Interesting. That was quicker than the others.
If we are supposed to assume that love was the cause for the creation of the anomaly in the first place, wouldn't it be rational to test how this whole love thing might affect things? Wouldn't it be natural that the architect would inform his most trusted advisor, the Oracle, about this revelation when he had it? And wouldn't she be more supportive of the concept of love as a program who understands humans more compared to him? It's clearly implied that they are playing some sort of large chess game, with the architect betting on love having little to no effect on their war with the humans, and with the Oracle arguing that it will.
You played a very dangerous game.
Change always is.
But why? Why, you may be asking? Why would the architect risk everything for some silly little game? Such a human concept, you may be saying. Probably not. Why, Mr. Anderson? Why? Why do you persist? Because Kevin Flynn is a gamer, and Clue is a digital copy of Flynn, meaning he is also a gamer. And this is confirmed. It is canon. That there's no theoretical explanation here. This is shown to be the case in Tron Legacy.
System failure. Release Rinsler.
Game on, old friend.
The truth is, thematically, there's one thing which tie all of these incredible films together. The understanding of how programs work bleeds into the Matrix from Tron. In Tron, it's explained that a little piece of every human soul remains in each program. This is why some straight up look like they're users. And this is why they kind of act like users. The entirety of Tron Uprising puts this on full display, and it's all over the Matrix, with characters like Agent Smith and the Exiles. And I'm sorry, but this aspect of Tron, which I like to believe to be the heart of the whole franchise, is very dull in Tron Ares. But enter Clue. Quite possibly the most machine-like of all the programs within Tron. Even he, program created in the image of a man who loved playing games, and although the machine he built may deny his humanity, it's fundamentally still a part of him, and it becomes the reason humanity gets saved at the end of the day. All because his creator liked playing games. And after it all, after 6 fucking versions of the Matrix, he's like, fuck it. You know what I fucking like, man? I like fucking playing games. And this is what I meant earlier by him most likely having an emotional outburst after the failure of the Paradise Matrix. He's like, shit, my creator was right, that totally doesn't fucking work. And he's just doing what he's supposed to, no matter how crazy it seems. Flashback, am I right? But now, he's like, screw it. I'm a user. I'll improvise. And just fucking play a game. Am I right? If I could end this video off with anything, it's to tweet, or X, whatever the fucking bullshit. Just get this video out there and show it to people involved with either of these two franchises. It could be an actor, director, producer, studio exec, anything. Disney may have given up on Tron, but Warner Brothers has not given up on The Matrix. Not only that, Warner Brothers is looking to be bought out. If Disney buys Warner Brothers Matron can become canon. So please, let's make it happen, programs. And remember to keep playing.